In 2009, workers were digging deep inside a coal mine in Colombia, South America. At first, it seemed like an ordinary day, but then they found something strange. A bone, then another, and another. As more fossils emerged from the ground, scientists began to realize they were looking at something extraordinary. These weren't dinosaur bones, they didn't belong to a crocodile, and they weren't from any animal alive today. The fossils belonged to a creature so massive that it would completely change our understanding of prehistoric predators. A giant snake. A snake longer than a school bus. A snake that ruled the world after the dinosaurs disappeared. Its name was Titanoboa, the world after the dinosaurs. 66 million years ago, a giant asteroid struck Earth. The age of the dinosaurs came to an end. For millions of years, dinosaurs had dominated the planet. They were the undisputed rulers of land. But after the catastrophe, everything changed. Entire ecosystems collapsed. Countless species vanished forever. The world entered a new era, and whenever one king falls, another eventually rises. Deep within the hot, humid rainforests of ancient South America, a new predator was beginning its reign. Not a dinosaur, not a mammal, but something far more unexpected. A giant snake, Titanoboa. For millions of years, Titanoboa remained completely unknown to humanity. No legends, no written records, no evidence. It was as if the creature had never existed. Then came the discovery. Scientists examining fossil remains in Colombia noticed something unusual. The vertebrae were enormous, far larger than those of any modern snake. The more fossils they uncovered, the more astonishing the picture became. These bones belonged to the largest snake ever discovered, a creature unlike anything alive today. Researchers named it Titanoboa, meaning the Titanic boa. And suddenly, a forgotten predator returned to the spotlight after nearly 60 million years. How big was Titanoboa? The next question was obvious. Just how large was this snake? Scientists carefully studied the fossilized vertebrae. Using comparisons with modern snakes, they reconstructed its size. The results shocked the world. Titanoboa may have reached lengths of over 40 feet. Some estimates suggest nearly 50 feet. That's roughly the length of a school bus. Its weight may have exceeded 1 ton. Imagine a snake as heavy as a small car. Today, the green anaconda is considered one of the largest snakes on Earth. But compared to Titanoboa, even an anaconda looked small. Titanoboa wasn't simply bigger. It existed on an entirely different scale.
The perfect ambush predator.
Perhaps the most terrifying thing about Titanoboa was that it didn't need venom. Modern people often associate deadly snakes with poison. Titanoboa relied on something else: pure strength. It spent much of its time in rivers, swamps, and wetlands, waiting, watching, completely still, hidden beneath the water's surface. Then suddenly, it attacked. With explosive speed, the giant snake wrapped its massive body around its prey. Each time the victim exhaled, the coils tightened. Again and again and again, until breathing became impossible. Escape was nearly impossible, and once the struggle ended, Titanoboa swallowed its prey whole. King of the swamps. Ancient South America was a paradise for giant reptiles. The climate was hotter than it is today. Dense forests covered vast areas. Massive rivers stretched across the landscape. These conditions helped Titanoboa thrive. It sat at the very top of its ecosystem. Few animals could challenge it. Few animals could even survive an encounter. For millions of years, Titanoboa ruled its world. A silent predator hidden in the shadows, waiting for the next victim to come too close. Something begins to change, but no kingdom lasts forever. Even the most powerful predator cannot control nature itself. Slowly, Earth's climate began to change. Temperatures started to fall. The swamps and rainforests that supported Titanoboa began to transform. The world that had created this giant predator was changing around it, and that change would have devastating consequences, because the reign of Titanoboa was nearing its end. But as one monster disappeared, another future monster was preparing to rise, not in the swamps, not in the forests, but deep beneath the ocean waves, and its name would become legendary: Megalodon. Titanoboa was gone. The giant snake that once ruled ancient swamps had vanished from Earth. Its bones remained buried beneath the ground. Its kingdom had disappeared, and for a while, it seemed as if nature had lost its most terrifying predator. But while the forests were changing, something else was happening beneath the oceans. A new monster was rising, one so powerful that even today, millions of years later, people still talk about it. A creature whose teeth were larger than a human hand. A creature capable of hunting some of the biggest animals that have ever lived. A creature that turned the oceans into its hunting grounds. Its name was Megalodon, and its story is even more terrifying. The mystery of the giant teeth. Long before scientists understood what Megalodon was, people kept finding enormous teeth. They washed up on beaches, they were discovered in cliffs, and they appeared in places all around the world. No one knew where they came from. Some believed they belonged to dragons. Others thought they were the remains of sea monsters. The teeth were simply too large to belong to any known animal. For centuries, the mystery remained unsolved. Then science finally provided an answer. These giant teeth belonged to an ancient shark. Not just any shark. The largest predatory shark ever known. Megalodon. A name that means big tooth. A shark beyond imagination. Trying to imagine Megalodon isn't easy, because nothing alive today truly compares to it. Scientists estimate that Megalodon could reach lengths of 50 to 60 feet. Some estimates suggest it may have been even larger. Picture a school bus swimming through the ocean. Now imagine that school bus was alive. Imagine it moving silently through the water. Imagine it hunting. That's how enormous Megalodon was. Its body was built for power. Its muscles were massive. Its tail generated tremendous speed. And unlike most predators, Megalodon didn't need to hide. Its size alone made it terrifying. The most feared jaws in the ocean. But Megalodon's true weapon wasn't its size, it was its mouth. The jaws of Megalodon were absolutely enormous. A human could stand inside them. Its teeth were triangular, serrated like giant knives, perfectly designed for tearing through flesh and bone. Some of those teeth reached more than 7 inches in length, and there were hundreds of them, row after row, ready to replace any tooth that broke during a hunt. Then there was its bite. Scientists believe Megalodon possessed one of the strongest bite forces ever measured for any animal. A single bite could crush bone. A single attack could cripple even the largest prey. Few creatures in history possessed that kind of power. The hunter of giants. What did Megalodon hunt? The answer's simple: almost anything it wanted. But its favorite prey appears to have been whales. Ancient whales. Large whales. Sometimes very large whales. Scientists have found fossil whale bones bearing bite marks that match Megalodon teeth, evidence of brutal encounters that happened millions of years ago. Megalodon didn't always attack head-on. Instead, it often targeted the fins or tail. One powerful strike, and the whale could no longer swim effectively. Once the prey was weakened, the giant shark moved in for the kill. It was efficient, calculated, and devastatingly effective. Ruler of the oceans. For millions of years, Megalodon dominated the seas. Its fossils have been discovered across the globe. North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia. Almost everywhere scientists look, they find evidence of this giant predator. Warm oceans became its empire, and within that empire, few animals could challenge it. Megalodon sat at the top of the food chain, the undisputed king of the sea, a predator so successful that it survived for millions of years. But even kings are not invincible. The first signs of trouble. At first, the changes were small, almost impossible to notice. Ocean temperatures began to shift. Sea currents started changing. Ecosystems slowly transformed. The world Megalodon depended upon was evolving, and evolution doesn't wait for anyone, not even giants. As the oceans changed, so did the animals living within them. The prey Megalodon relied upon began moving into different regions. Food became harder to find, and new competitors were beginning to appear. For the first time in millions of years, the king of the oceans faced a serious challenge. Something was happening. Something that even a giant shark couldn't stop. The oceans were changing. The prey was disappearing. New predators were arriving. And slowly, the reign of Megalodon began to crumble. But what finally killed the most powerful shark in Earth's history? Why did a creature that survived for millions of years suddenly vanish? And if Megalodon and Titanoboa had somehow existed at the same time, which monster would have been the deadlier predator?